Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and trippin' orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move rockin' on? Now who wanna move crossin' on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em, bingo bottle, never stop it. To the beast and know 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossin' on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world.
What's up everybody? This is Ted Karras for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cincy Hat, and you're watching Bengals and Brews.
Yes, sir. Special time. Finishing up our summer scouting series with defensive backs, so corners and safeties today. Just top fives for both of those positions, but we'll try to do a rundown of each position at the end. Give you some more corners, some more safeties to watch out for. College football is back. More college football games today. Maybe we'll get time to talk about those games and what we're seeing. But, man, a lot to get into. Newt's wearing the Packers jersey, so I'll give him his moment to shine and talk about the Packers getting Micah Parsons.
I mean, the Packers have to give up 2 firsts and an aging Kenny Clark, and hopefully those 2 firsts are pick 32 and pick 32 because Micah Parsons pushed the defense over the edge. That was like absolutely insane to be, just like reading about and seeing, because it had been such a big piece of like NFL media and NFL coverage, like what's going to happen with Parsons. And I know there were so many teams out there like, is he going to go here? Is he going to go there? I know that there were a couple things like linking even the Packers to Hendrickson, saying, well, maybe this could happen. Ultimately, you guys keep Hendrickson. How are you guys with that? Like, I didn't get a chance to see any of your reaction with it.
Yeah, I'm good with it. It was kind of how I thought things would play out. I said it so many times on the show. I'm like, I can see them giving him more money because he gets to keep his word. He didn't play under his current contract, but the Bengals aren't putting that guaranteed money, which he would have wanted in future years. So they and they still get to keep the option to tag him. So honestly, it's not bad, especially with the money. I mean, your guy got $47 million. He's up to $29 for this year, and the tag is reported for him to be $34.8. So the money wouldn't be crazy in either of the 2 years if he keeps producing the way he is at age 30. So we'll see.
Correct.
But I'm excited to have it done. I thought there was a world where he set out week 1 to prove a point, like Chris Jones did for the Chiefs. And obviously the Bengals need to get off to a fast start, unlike they have in years past. So I'm glad he's under contract and back at practice.
Yeah, and I mean, that was always the biggest thing surrounding Parsons is the money and, where it's going to go. And I saw the stat that Packers are the first team in history now to pay over $100 million for 2 players on their roster and like a per average annual value. Honestly, I think Parsons is that good. I think he's such a dude.
Young too, like, you're paying him at a young age when he should be in his prime. So. Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, it's hard to say like how can you be upset with a deal when you're ideally giving up 2 late first round picks.
Yeah.
And you're having, you have to pay him the money. And so like the picks are just for the right to pay him. And I know that's going to be where like a lot of people like have maybe an issue with it, but I think, and I shouldn't even use a lot of people because I think that's the minority. I think everyone that is a football fan and everyone that's a Packer fan, or the majority of people are saying that's the Packers. I saw the term fleeced at least 3 dozen times. The Packers fleeced the Cowboys. And, I think the Cowboys kind of ruined that situation. They made the most of what they could, but it still wasn't a good thing in the end. And I'm happy that the Packers came out with Micah Parsons for that, for sure.
Yeah, and if you're tuning in, you're like, Dale's wearing LSU. He's not LSU. He's got the Buckeyes there. This whole wall is Buckeyes on the other side that no one sees. But I got the Buckeye hat on still. I went with black. Like, it's all blacked out Buckeye hat. But I'm wearing this for my boy Pork Chop. I picked Clemson to win. I've had this. I got this for real cheap like 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know that I've ever wore it. So I was like, hey, I've got it. I'll support my guy Pork Chop. His LSU Tigers got the win last night over Clemson. Yeah. A very good game to watch. I love that. Shout out Florida State beating Bama. That was fun. But we'll dive into our summer scouting because we'd be.
You're not going to even do a shout out for your boys. I mean,
the Buckeyes beating Texas. It was an ugly football game. The Arch Manning hype train is now derailed. I think he'll be just fine, but it's going to be a couple years. I'm going ahead and moving him out of the 26 draft guide for anybody who who gets a draft guide. I'm going ahead and putting that whole profile in with the 2027 draft guide that I already have started for, which is mainly empty. It's just got a lot of names. One guy that is in that I haven't done too much on is your cornerback 5, though. So we'll dive right into it, and that's Christian Gray. He could very well be in this class. I know he's got a couple years of eligibility. Leonard Moore is not even draft eligible for Notre Dame. But tell me more about Christian Gray, because I haven't done a deep dive on him. There's so many prospects I already have, but he's a guy who's definitely on my radar who will be playing tonight against Miami, Florida.
Yeah, man, you're just flowing with those transitions. I
pulled a Greg. I had to cough and I turned off my camera. Damn it! Instead of my mic, I pulled a Greg.
So Christian Gray is on my radar purely because of Bill Sparks. I think he's like his cornerback 2. Maybe I'm quoting that wrong, but I know Bill's really high on Christian Gray.
He was almost your cornerback 1 because I put the order in wrong first. Then I saw Caleb Downs and was like, wait, he's not where this is. So I had to flip that.
Flip around. So I got him on there. I'm not as high as Bill is on him, but I think that Christian Gray, he's got like all of those raw physical tools that I want to see. I'm comfortable having him 2026 just because he started last year. He played, a full year in that Notre Dame defense that was just absolutely lights out last year. Like, you're talking about a defense that was just taking the ball away, extremely aggressive, and effectively it is what got them to the national championship game. So he comes in, he's a true junior. He does have just really the 1 year as a start. He's got less than 1,000 total snaps, which for a cornerback is a lower number. But effectively, you're seeing him in 1 year kind of display that raw talent. And a lot of the things for him are going to be elements that go towards, hey, how much of that coaching needs to be in place? So when I looked at him, I wrote down he's an aggressive player with a big play mentality. I think that's part of that Notre Dame system. I love the way that he plays downhill. He moves downhill extremely well. I think in run support, he's a plus. I don't think you're necessarily worried about him out there as you might be with some of these other, lighter cornerbacks that have the athleticism and the ball skills. I think he's got a good build to him. He's written at 187. He looked thicker than 187 to me. And if he is that, he plays bigger than 187 because I really liked his style of play, his mentality. But I think he also does have the athleticism. Now, he's number 5 for me, and I think that this is kind of a middling cornerback class. I don't think it's a bad one. I don't think it's a stellar one. But, he comes in kind of there because of those things that he has to clean up. Right now, he's too physical at the catch point, leading to pass interference calls. Last year, he had 7, which I know will be dwarfed by other players, not to be probably mentioned on this podcast, Iggy. But he didn't have
any against Texas, and I was so happy for him. He looked better, but he's got to do it all year.
Yeah, he's got to do it all year. So Christian Gray will be looking towards that. Like, hey, can you? I love the aggressiveness, and I think we've talked about it here. I'd rather be over aggressive than under aggressive. Yeah. But you got to be able to be coached back in that a little bit. I think that he does need to add a little bit more play strength. Like I said, I love the mentality. I love what he does right now. But once again, I think he needs to continue to add more, especially in his routes. I think he can get bumped off by bigger receivers a little bit. The press technique needs work. He's willing to, once again, that mentality's there. Like everything that you want to see is there. It just needs to continue to develop. And then the last thing I wrote down, he just has to have a better understanding of schemes for rub routes and drag routes across the middle. And I watched only 2 games of his. I saw USC and Penn State, and there were so many times in those 2 games alone where he just got annihilated on a rub route because he didn't have an understanding of, is he going to go underneath? Is he going to go over top? And he got burned. That USC game, I mean, if you're going to watch one game from him, watch the USC game because he's going to have some of his lowest lows, but he's going to have some of his highest highs. You're going to see one of the best pick sixes you'll ever see from last year in college football. So it's a fun guy. I think he's got a lot of tools. I'm excited to see what he does this year, including tonight, putting it together and being a little bit more of a refined cornerback.
Yeah, and I would say, well, how does he do as cornerback 1 now? They had a guy off to the NFL that went in the 2nd round. But then
he
Leonard
was
Moore came
effectively
in
playing as cornerback one for a while.
for a little bit. But Leonard Moore is still back, and I mean, he's got Leonard Moore there with him. They've got some guys back in that secondary. I like the safety Adon Schuler as well there at Notre Dame. So they've always got dudes in that secondary. So he'll be just fine either way. Anyways, they got dogs all around. My corner 5 is Mansour Delane, transferred to LSU from Virginia Tech. So the LSU right here, right off the bat, he was phenomenal. It was not just the interception. He was having a fantastic game, locking dudes down in coverage, getting PBUs. Looked excellent out there for them. And I liked his tape from Virginia Tech, to be fair. It's not, and there's a reason he was highly sought after in the portal. I know Buckeyes fans, we were like, hey, we want this guy. I know we got some other guys, but I think everybody wanted this guy, and LSU was able to lock him down. Immediately paid dividends for LSU with Mansour Delane, because that's a big reason they won that game was how well he was playing out there against very young but very talented Clemson wide receivers, especially after Antonio Williams got hurt and couldn't play. But still some good players he was going against. He's reliable. He's physical and run support. He had a 75 run defense grade last year. He's a two-way cornerback. Like he is listed at 5'11", 191. I believe that's maybe official even from like Dane Brugler or out of LSU or whatever. So, I mean, it's good to see, because he's been listed as low as 180 in the past, and he still does look a little thin, like he could add a few more pounds of muscle onto his frame between now and the time he's playing in the NFL. You know, during off-season training for the draft, I could see that happening. But there's just a lot to like with this kid. It's not just how physical he was in run support. 47.2% completion percentage against him last season. That's incredible. You will look at a lot of these numbers, for example, and some of the good cornerbacks, you'll still see they allowed 60, 65% completion percentage against. He was at 47.2% last year for Virginia Tech. And then the game he just had last night, he should probably be higher on both of our lists, because I know he's coming up next for you to talk about as well. But a hell of a player. He has over 1,800 snaps of experience entering last night. So that was before that game. He's going to have a lot more. That is a ton of football for a defensive player. So he's played a lot. He's played a lot of good football. He's got better each and every year. I think he's going to get even better this year. Like one thing, I remember scouting him a couple years ago, and he was in the draft guide for a while, went back to Virginia Tech even, because I think he was draft eligible. And I need to see more ball production. He's got good ball skills, and then last year he goes and has 4 interceptions for Virginia Tech. So it was like, check that box. And what's he do in the game last night? Gets another one. So it's like, you know, he's doing that. He's in the right places. He's a physical and run support. There's not a lot of bad things I can say about this kid. He could end up much higher on this list. It's just being a little more consistent. And the negatives was he's overly physical. He does get quite a few penalties as well there when he was at Virginia Tech. Didn't see too many last night, but, you know, and maybe adding a little bit to his frame. Those are kind of the two things that I said could improve. But overall, I really, really like this kid. And we're not doing a top 10, so we're at 5. So having someone at 5 is already putting them in fringe first-round territory typically for corners. You can see 4 to 5 go, but if not, you're talking top 50 all day long for these guys we have on our list right now and where we're looking at them early on. And I'll let you talk about him because he is your cornerback 4.
Yeah, and I'm going to echo just a lot of those things. I think I said the same thing about his frame. He needs to add some mass there. He can be over-aggressive at times. And I think, like, the penalties are one thing. There was a little bit of boom or bust that he can play with. He can bite down a little too much on those dig routes, especially if it's a give and go or something like that. And with, though, I think that, you know, we're seeing him play a lot of really good snaps at Virginia Tech. And like you said, those questions were answered from 2023 to 2024. You know, what can he do? The 4 picks, 4 pass breakups on top of that is stellar. And I think he's got even more room to grow, which you saw last night with that really great debut in the LSU jersey. It was one of those things where I haven't seen him a lot in top 5s, and seeing that last night, I was like, okay, I will absolutely take this, because everything that I saw going into the season was the fact that he was really a bona fide, like you said, top 50 talent in this group, and one that's got a lot of opportunity to move up. You know, I really like my first 2, but after that, I think that between my number 3, Delane Gray, I think that there's a lot of fluidity in those rankings. And so with him,
and one guy's injured that we're going to talk about, both of us, on both of our list. And it's a big question mark for if he's in this draft. What does he do? How healthy is he? Does he come back at all? And we'll get to that in a little bit. But correct. I agree.
So I think that, I mean, him doing what he did last night, obviously one game. And that's why, like, I'm not going to overreact to Arch. Nope. I'm not going to overreact to a lot of those things. It's one game, but you got to feel pretty good about that one game. And you say, okay, that's a good foundation to go off of. I did have one more thing written down. I don't know if you touched on it.
Isn't Corey Raymond back there the last year or two as the defensive backs coach for LSU? And he's been tremendous putting guys in the NFL. So him getting to be with him too is like a perfect match for what the sky could be for this guy.
Yeah. And I think so. Just to add on one more thing with him, and this is something you see with cornerbacks a lot just because of the position that they're put in. Delane is such a phenomenal open field tackler. Like he is, I think he's just as good in run support. And I know you mentioned that as Christian Gray for me, but his ability to break down a tackle on the field. If you check out the Miami game from last year, there's a couple times where he gets Cam Ward in the open field and he takes him down. And it's like that's what you want to see from a cornerback. Obviously, like everyone likes to get the big hits and everything, but can you just break down and make a tackle in open field against a highly skilled position?
A lot of guys don't do it. We talk about missed tackle rates, and that's for positions besides corner, but corners you're seeing a lot of ankle biters.
Yeah. So I love the way that he plays the game. I love the mentality. Yes, the size needs to improve. I think he needs to be a little bit more refined in his understanding of route concepts and not be as aggressive at the top of a route. But CB4, and I feel even more comfortable about it last night. Like I said, I'm not going to overreact, but it's a
great start.
It's a good
great start. Yep. Great start to the season for him. And we both will pair it up again. We got Damani Jackson at 4. I don't think a lot of people have him this high like we do, but we kind of
do I hate? I'm trying to figure that out now. There's going to be someone that you're going to be dogging me on.
Oh yeah, my number 1 is not on your list, and I believe your number 1 is not on my list.
Okay, so there's going to be 2 guys that you're getting after me for.
Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of a weird thing that we're agreeing this much now, but usually we get into those the last 2 players or so in a position we're similar. That's not going to be the case today. It's a little opposite. We got at the top 5 area, the 3.
Nice.
We got some more similarities. Damani Jackson, though, 6'1", 191, transferred from USC to Alabama ahead of the 24 season, so played at Bama last year. Had a bad penalty yesterday in that Florida State game, hitting a guy out of bounds, just something you can't have. But overall, man, this is a guy who's reported to run under 4.3. So he's got the length at 6'1". He's got decent size. 191 is not great for 6'1". So maybe you could bulk up a little. But he's a speedster all day long with the long arms. I like that profile for a cornerback. Now, is there things about his game he has to get better at? Of course. But we're talking about another guy run defense-wise. An 82 run defense grade last year. The coverage was 64.1. That's like Delane. His coverage grade last year was 66. So those are still not bad. I promise you. No. Like you see some of these, like don't get it twisted. The mid 60s and up is not bad for corners in college. But he's a former 5-star recruit. Like we mentioned, USC. He's got the return ability as well as playing cornerback. I think he's best in press man. I think that's where he's going to live. That's where he's going to be best at the next level. He's got to improve the ball skills. The instincts in zone coverage is still a work in progress compared to the press man coverage. And we talked about a lot of these corners miss a lot of tackles. Even though he had a good run defense grade, his missed tackle rate was still 22.4%. So he's putting himself in position. He's aggressive. He gets there, but he's not always finishing those. So we'd like to see that at a higher rate. And then 3 penalties is something I had in my notes, and that was for last year. And then he's already got the one on a dumb bonehead penalty yesterday. And there could have been others. I don't know. But I remember that one standing out to me as I was watching games yesterday. So you have Damani Jackson at 3. I'll let you just continue the conversation on him.
Yeah, I mean, and just once again, those couple weaknesses to echo, the missed tackle rate and the ball skills. If you got a chance to see him last year, he did have 2 picks. They were both 100% on the cornerback. I think one was Carson Beck, ding, ding. throwing it
Guy
literally right
sucks.
into his chest.
Plays tonight. That guy, we'll see if he still sucks. He sucked last year.
Carson Beck, it was one of those bonehead plays last year where you always just question his decision making. He threw it like Damani Jackson was playing receiver. And then the second one, because I watched both games, was South Carolina. Lenore Sellers is just trying to make something happen at the end of the game. Chucks the ball deep, and Damani Jackson's just there. Good on him for making the play, but it's not anything where the two picks I'm impressed by. Realistically, I wouldn't say he made a play on either of those. So I agree on the ball skills. I think one thing I saw a little differently than you did, I didn't love his speed, actually. And I know I saw the reports about the sub 4.3. Do
you think it's play speed compared to time speed, or do you think it's complete bullshit that he's timed as fast as these reports?
I think it's bullshit because I got some of the spring numbers, and he had a not verified but a estimated 4.5 for the spring numbers.
That's quite the difference from under 4.3 potentially that was being reported. And that's over a year ago. So that might have been from his time at USC that was reporting that too.
Yeah. So, and once again, that's an estimated one, but that is in the spring numbers that were released.
It's a big difference, dude.
Yep. And they're like, the play speed, I think fits a little bit more with that 4.5. Now, maybe he's more like a 4.4 guy. I would guess he's like high 4.4s if you asked me to kind of put a bet on it, but I'm not like blown away by that speed. And I did see,
well, he wouldn't have been in my top 5 if I hadn't heard that number for speed. I'm just going to be honest. Like, I think he's got a lot of things still to work on. So the fact you're telling me that makes me think this guy could drop if he doesn't. Because, I mean, I'm putting him up this side through summer scouting on those traits that I thought he had.
Yeah. So I will say, though, and the reason, and I'm factoring in the fact that I think he's like a 4. Like, once again, I would be like 4.5, 4.45, 4.5. He is, and you said it, I think he's even better than you think. The press coverage, how he's able to live in that, and I think I bump a guy up a little bit more. If you're going to be able to give me press man coverage, and it's not perfect.
Yeah, there are Florida State guys, man. Florida State guys keep doing it and coming out and being good players in the league.
So I think the fact that he's got that press technique is going to be so good for his game, and he plays it well. But then on top of that, just the short area quickness, the fluidity in his hips. Like, he can, jam and press, get off, flip his hips like they're greasy as an axle, and everything about it where he's playing in that short to intermediate game. I love his play. I don't necessarily love him up top, but if you're going to play him in a cover 2, cover 3 system where you give him a little bit of that support and you let him really be a dog down low, I love him there, and I think he's one of the best guys in the draft eligible group from the summer that you could see there. You mentioned it, like, he's got to still continue to grow as a player. The penalty yesterday, not the greatest thing in the world, but you're getting a guy that gives you good in run support. He gives you a phenomenal mark as like a traitsy coverage corner and the press man. Those other things, obviously, the speed you're not going to be able to increase. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is like a 4.3 guy.
Who knows? I
don't know, but he doesn't look like it.
I believe you, Newt.
He doesn't look like it to me. But hey, clean up the tackles. Let's see if those ball skills. If you're there and you're so sticky, I want to see that a little bit more. But yeah, I like Damani Jackson, I feel like it comes off like I'm kind of like ragging on him a little bit. But man,
he's going to live in press man, and if you can live in press man, you can usually translate well to the NFL.
Correct. I mean, it's very similar to like not the same size player, but like I was really high on AZ last year because he's a big physical dude that's able to play press man. AZ is a lot bigger of a frame, but I think that he was a lot slower too, which is ultimately one thing that made him fall. But
that's why I really like this kid, was because I thought, okay, he can live in press man. That's going to be, but to have that speed if somebody beats him off the line and not having it, that will make it. And I'm okay. He's at 4. He's not at 1. But still, I'm going to closely be watching this kid, as with all these prospects throughout the year. And I'll jump to my number 3 now. A guy not in your top 5. I'm curious your thoughts, but I really like AJ Harris.
He's a top 10 player for me. He's a top 10 player.
So he's still in that top 10. And honestly, corners, I will say this. It's the position I think I have the toughest time evaluating The all 22 and stuff that I get, the angles are harder to see. Sometimes the corners are completely off the clips you're watching till halfway through the rep. It's just tough, and I'm trying to get better at it, but I self-admit that this is probably the toughest position for me evaluating. But I like a lot I see with A.J. Harris. 6'1", 185. I mentioned originally at Georgia for a season. Didn't play much. Transferred to Penn State. Played quite a bit last year. Looked really good last year. We're talking coverage grades. 81.3 coverage grade. 69.9 in run defense. Nice, 69. Had a 14% missed tackle rate. Not egregious, not crazy. It's not great. I like it 10 or lower.
Cornerback.
You want 10 or lower, but for a corner, 14%, you can live in that range. He's overly physical in coverage. I feel like we're going to say that about a lot of people. Don't get caught if you're overly physical too much, like Davis and Igbinosun with 16 penalties, and it's not going to be a big deal. You got to be smooth with it. And Igbinosun never was. I think A.J. Harris is a little smoother with it, but it is something to clean up with another year. Only entering his true junior season, so he has time. He hasn't put up a lot of interceptions, very limited to this point. So you want to see that increase, the ball skills, the ball production increase. But he doesn't turn 20 until November. This is a kid that's still 19 or whatever and played a lot of football for Penn State last season. He was a 5-star recruit, and just a bit about his background. It's a military family. So his dad served in the military. He lived in Germany. He's one of the and I think the discipline of these players, you see it. Jalen Rivers, military family that the Bengals got, and we're liking what we've seen in the reps of him at right guard. He's going to be a depth piece to start the season, but that's a good 5th-round pick, we think. A.J. Harris, the military background, the discipline, the way he's been raised by his family, and the way he does life as a kid who's well matured beyond the 19 years old that he is. So he's physical in run support. Another guy that can get up and get in press man coverage with pretty good length. And I think his foot speed and his feet in general are just impressive. So there is so much I like about this guy too that I'm like, another guy that could be in the running for cornerback 1 for me, A.J. Harris with a big season for Penn State. I've got him at 3, but I really like him. And whether it's this year or next, because he's got eligibility, but I'm expecting a even better season because that was his first time in game action at 18 and 19 years old last year. And he was incredible. So I'm like, I'm trying to project the trajectory here for a guy like this. And I'm like, oh, he's going to be really big time prospect. So that's why I have him at 3. I'll let you get some thoughts on him as then we get into corner 2.
Yeah, so I liked A.J. Harris, and I think for me, I compare him really closely to Christian Gray. The both players kind of felt really similar to me, where they have a lot of traits, they've got a lot of elements to the game that you like. I almost want to go back and watch A.J. Harris again because now that you got him at 3, I think like Sycamore had him as cornerback 1. And
did he? Okay.
I think so. That. And I'm just like, man, is there something that I'm missing on this guy? And I really do. And I think I probably won't for anything looking at the 24 film, but I'm definitely going to look at him a lot closer based on what the games I see this year.
Just, football's back, baby. So we're not talking about next year. It's happening now.
Exactly. So I think when I look at him again, I'm definitely going to put him a little bit more under a microscope and try to look at those elements just because I think that he does, like, he's got a lot of those traits there. I didn't see the ball skills. And you mentioned it, only 1 pick, 3 PBUs, comparing him back to Christian Gray again, but Gray had 3 interceptions and 7 pass breakups. And I mean, I'll swear for the life of me, the 1 pick he had against USC was one of the more athletic interceptions I've seen. So, when I kind of compare him there, it is one of those things that I would probably still feel comfortable like having Gray above A.J. Harris. But I mentioned it already. Like Gray could easily be one of those guys that falls as number 3 for me because I really liked him, and obviously this year will have a big impact on that. But with A.J. Harris, I do agree with a lot of the things that you see. You see the physical tools there. You see the way that he can play, and the fact that he's only a young player and has a lot of room to grow is something to hang your hat on. So definitely something worth mentioning there. But I am going to talk about Jermod McCoy, which I believe you also have as number 2.
Yeah,
right?
He is number 2 for me as well. We both have 2 different players at number 1 that's not on either of our top 5s, which is phenomenal.
I love that. So I'm just gonna hit it right now. McCoy right now is dealing with the torn ACL that he suffered while doing private workouts in January.
Yep.
He is hoped to be back this season, and really not even like necessarily supposed to be late this season. But
he might come back earlier. That'll be huge then.
Who's the Tennessee coach? Why am I blanking on his name?
Oh man, he was a quarterback, right, or something. Is he a quarterback guy?
I can't remember.
I don't fucking know.
Big guy, yeah. Regardless, Tennessee coach has been very closed doors about like a timetable, which is fair.
It's a tough position to come back early on. I'll say that.
Yeah. So when you take and you put the injury aside, if you take a look at 24 film and you really just focus on him as a prospect, he is a fluid athlete. Like extremely well built. The size is what you want to see. He comes in at 6 foot 193. That's 6 foot 6'1" for a cornerback. I think that's really the sweet spot. I agree. Long. Like when you get long, obviously it's a good thing, but I think you lose some of that.
You're not as crisp. Yeah, and your feet. Yep.
I mean, obviously, if there's a 6'4" guy that can run stupid 3-cone short shuttle, sure, give me him all day. But realistically, I think that 6 foot 6'1" is where you're going to find that really well-rounded talent. I think he's sticky in coverage. The technique and understanding of trail technique when matching a receiver and the ability to really seamlessly match cuts in and out of routes is something that is extremely refined. And that's a lot of times a knock that I have on some of these guys is, they have to understand a little bit more about route technique and the elements that a wide receiver is going to bring when he's trying to create that break or whatever it may be. McCoy is there. He understands those things. The zone coverage, I think he reads the quarterback well. He explodes downfield in a really efficient and short burst. The recovery speed for him is more than adequate. The player that I'm not worried about, even if he gets beat, he's able to catch up. I'm not saying like he's going to be a true like 4-2 burner, but I think he's going to have what is adequate recovery speed. Ball skills are there. The aggressive brand of football is there. And then him just playing in some of that man coverage right on the line of scrimmage. I want to see a little bit more press technique out of him. I think he needs to improve that if he's really going to be able to play the brand of football that NFL teams are going to want him to play given his understanding of the game. But overall, a guy that, he's checking all the boxes. And, we've talked about it a ton on here. 7% missed tackle percentage in 2024.
Yeah.
These cornerbacks look better than our
D linemen,
tackles, edges, and linebackers. And they're not supposed to either. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, I mean, the man coverage ability, press man maybe, but man coverage in general, he's always matched up with the best player. Now, it didn't work out with Jeremiah Smith, obviously, in that game, if you're a Buckeye fan and watch that. But, man, they shouldn't have put him in that position. Texas certainly wasn't doing that against Jeremiah Smith last year or in the game yesterday. You got 2-3 guys on him at all time, not one. He's a freak. Couple drops yesterday, but neither here nor there. He'll be fine. It's Jeremiah Smith.
That was early on. He figured it out.
Yeah. But ball skills, ball tracking ability down the field, 4 interceptions, 44 tackles goes to that with the low missed tackle rate. Really good instincts and click and close. Like he can hit those feet and close on that ball and drive on that ball and get PBUs, interceptions. And I love to see it in a corner. It's the injury. I mean, I would have had a tough time probably not having him at 1 at the end of the day if it wasn't for the injury, to be fair. I really like this kid. If he can come back healthy, if he's in this draft class, he's going to be in the conversation. But anytime you have an ACL, you want to see how they come back. And even if that's not during the season and it's in, preseason and it's in testing and it's in at the NFL combine and how he looks in the drills, it's all of that, to be fair. So I didn't even put that up. But, yeah, so I also have Jermon McCoy at 2. But I won't spend a ton of time. I thought you were right on it with him. A lot to like with this kid. A very talented cornerback whenever he comes out. I think was originally at Oklahoma State, was very good there. And then he transferred to Oregon State. I know it was one of those O states that wasn't Ohio.
The fake OSUs?
Yeah, one of the fake OSUs. Oregon State. And he was very good there, but transferred and was phenomenal for Tennessee last year. Big part of their success in making the college football playoff. It clearly wasn't Nico Iamaleava because they got their ass whooped by Utah last night. Didn't stay up watch full game. I got a little less than half. I think I crashed out, but I saw the final score.
Utah's got a good team. They got
the way they're using Landon Barton, the linebacker at tight end, they're using Smith Snowden, the cornerback, at receiver. He was their leading receiver, and he had a tutty, and they're getting him the ball on reverses and this and that. I'm like, oh man, Smith Snowden, the guy, not on our list because I think he's a sophomore. He's not draft eligible. I know I have him with 27. I know I have him with 27 either way right now, but I love Smith Snowden. Good corner too. Good returner. He's everything. But we won't talk about him because we got guys in this class, and you're number one. Not even in my top 10, but he's close to it.
Oh my God. Just pure slander.
I know. I knew you were going to be pissed when I said that. So Xavier Scott from Illinois.
Not even in the top 10. So I gotta give a shout out. Owen put Xavier Scott on my radar to begin with, who was put on his radar by Hank Nose Ball. Big fan of Scott. He is his number one player in the entire draft eligible. Like he is his number one player. So I'm high in Xavier Scott. He's my number 5 overall player on my big board, just outside of a blue chip grade for me. But this is a guy I get, maybe not with like the pure athleticism piece, but I get shades of Cooper DeJean watching this guy, and you see him and what he's able to do. And it's been a theme for these top 5 guys. They're guys that can play all facets of the game. They play really good in coverage, but they also bring the elements of the run game. I think Xavier Scott is the best run defense cornerback since Cooper DeJean to be in the draft eligible, cycle that we're talking about. He comes in, he had a 85.2 PFF run grade last year, like an absolute ludicrous number. 85.5 tackle grade for them. What that effectively translates to is less than a 6% missed tackle rate in 2024, 8.2% for his career as an outside and slot cornerback. He does play a fair amount for them there. He probably
could play safety too. Yeah, I mean he
could play safety.
Versatile.
Yeah, he played almost 60% of the snaps from the slot last year. A third of his snaps from outside, like a true inside-outside guy. One that can, and I think like mock draft database has him as a safety. Like you could see him there. Once again, how many of these conversation pieces do we have about Cooper DeJean when he was coming out? Like all of these elements
good football players are good football players.
Exactly. So a fluid mover, spins his hips extremely well. The short area quickness, everything that he does within, and this is kind of like where I probably go back a little bit to Damani Jackson, and I talk about him in the shades of, hey, I really like him where he lives in that short to intermediate, and I think he's dominant in that space. Like there are very few things that I have a criticism for him within there. I think the hands are clean, 1 penalty in 2024, the explosiveness, all of those short area quickness things are going to be just out of this world for Xavier Scott. If you haven't watched him, turn on the Kansas tape. Like just and look, it's his best game. I'm not saying that every game's like that. And I'm not the first person to say this, he literally won that game for Illinois against Kansas. He had 2 picks, one being a pick 6, forced fumble late in the game, just multiple stops on defense. The guy is an absolute freak. I love the way he plays football. I love what he brings you. Now, obviously, there's some things he's got to work on. I think
where I have him, you're going to hate where I have him because
you got him like 18 or something like that. I can already imagine.
16.
Disgusting. I think he can get beat by press coverage. I think he needs to clean that element of his game up. If he's going to play press man coverage, he just needs to be better at it. If he's not, that's fine. Maybe he just ends up living as a nickel in the NFL. But if he's going to, he's got to figure out, like, yes or no, this is how you're going to play. The long speed's okay. I see him in the same boat as Damani Jackson. Like, the long speed for both of them, I see being okay, but nothing where it's like, wow. I think that they have the ability to maybe get beat over the top. I just think Xavier Scott's a little bit of a smarter player when it comes to that. And I don't think he bites down as much. I think he protects himself given that hindrance a little bit more. But I mean, that's it. That's kind of what I'm talking about in a guy that, plays a brand of football that I think is expansive to all three downs, and you can place him really where you see the most need to have support on your defense. So Xavier Scott comes in number one for me, top 5 player overall in this class heading into the college football season. And now they're in there, a guy that I'm really excited seeing this year.
And he's my corner 16. And I said I suck at evaluating corners, so you probably want to watch him.
Stop it.
Get your opinion, because Newt's probably closer to where he'll end up being. 5'11", 198, though, so that is really good size for a corner, which is why I think ultimately he may be a safety, and maybe that's why I'm a little lower on him. Really good ball skills, really good anticipation, route awareness. Those are all things I think it's good at corner. Yeah. But I'm like, man, this guy at safety could be really good.
I think he ends up being, honestly, that Cooper DeJean, starting nickel and just being that, supportive guy, and you can kind of move him around as needed, maybe a strong safety type player.
There are a little athleticism concerns, which is why I'm a little lower on him, I think, overall, and why I think he could maybe be a safety, maybe a slot corner, maybe not going to stick on the outside for sure. And then maybe I'm wrong on this, but I have down that he has an extensive injury history, whether it's through high school and maybe some at his time at Illinois. If I'm wrong on that,
see that. I got to check that out.
So I will have to go check that out too, because the fact that I put extensive injury history, there's something there that there was concerns, and that's why I think ultimately one of the reasons that I was definitely lower on him was because that always worries me, because the best ability is availability. And I know he obviously was healthy last year and maybe the year before, but I feel like maybe he's a little bit of an older guy. I don't know. I could be wrong. I need to go back and make sure on all those things.
He's a true senior, and he's got 1,700 snaps under his belt and 25 starts.
Well, I mean, that doesn't sound like it. So
I don't know.
Maybe I had the wrong player. Maybe I had Miles Scott, the safety for Illinois. I will definitely check back into it, but I have it in my notes. And when you do 400 or 500 fucking players,
these guys,
you may get confused at times.
Sure.
I'm not going to lie. So I'm not putting that past myself, but I wanted to mention it and see what you had on him there with that specifically. But I got to get my number one guy. I was already scrolling now to safeties, and then I'm like, wait, I haven't talked about my guy who is not in your top 5, and that's Avion Terrell.
He was number 6 for me, by the way.
Okay, fair.
So he was 6. Really quick,
I love this guy.
He did have a torn meniscus and partially torn ACL in the final game of the 2023 season.
Okay.
So he did have.
Now, I wonder if he had anything from high school, because sometimes that I'll get stuff when I'm first starting on players. Yeah.
Ankle and shoulder injury that caused him to miss.
I had it for a reason, man. I had it for a reason. Shoulder.
Yep. No, you're right.
It starts to add up for me.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So missed a lot of high school, and then missed the last game in 2023.
What an insane person I am to be like, and you're like, no, that doesn't sound right at all. And then it's like, it has to be some high school in there. When you told me those snaps, I was like, maybe I'm crazy.
Nah, you nailed it, man. The workings of Dale's mind is impressive and scary at the same time.
I try to do it for the draft guide. I try to dive as deep as I can on these guys and get the fullest picture possible for a $5 donation to Project Game.
Hell yeah.
Shameless plug in there.
It's not shameless. It's totally worthwhile.
Yeah. Avion Terrell, though, if you watched last night and you're like, yeah, well, that one guy caught a pass against him. That one guy is 6'7", Trades Green from LSU. He's 5'10". I'm sorry. He should never been matched up in the red zone with Trades Green. What are we doing here, Clemson? That's on Clemson. But overall, I thought he had a fantastic game again. And everything I've seen on tape, I love about this kid. Honestly, when I watched him and watched his tape for the first time back in March, I was like, fucking Trent McDuffie. And I love Trent McDuffie. Not the biggest guy in the world, but plays so much bigger, so physical, so willing in run defense. And he's listed at 5'11", 180. Might be 5'10". Either way, not a big fella. His brother is A.J. Terrell. Pro Bowl corner for the Falcons, former first-round pick. But I don't see his brother's game. In his game, I see more Trent McDuffie, undersized, just physical dog. I'm going to find a way to get it done. He can play in the slot. He can play on the outside. He is just tenacious. Like, I really, like, I say dog, I mean it. Like, you think of that dog, it's just like that is Avion Terrell on the football field. And he's very good at knocking balls out as a run defender or after the catch. He had 3 forced fumbles last year, had another one last night. It's just what he does. He gets in there, punches that ball out, knows how to force turnovers, and I love that. Like, it's just the tenacity of this guy. He is still only 21 years old. He is a true junior, but he has been playing since he was a true freshman for Clemson and playing a lot of good football for them. I love this kid. I think he's got good enough speed, really good change of direction ability. He's highly competitive. I keep going back to tenacious, competitive, these words that physical skill set that you can't teach. You either have this mindset and you play like it on the football field or you don't. And I think this kid has a whole different mindset than most players out on the football field. And I would gamble or bet on players with that type of mentality 10 out of 10 times to translate to the NFL. Everyone talked about Trent McDuffie's size, this, that, and the other. And he goes in the NFL and he's phenomenal for the Chiefs. And it doesn't matter if he's in the slot, he's on the outside, who he's matched up with. He's going to be very good. Now, can he stick as an outside corner in NFL is my biggest question, and why a lot of people wouldn't have a slot corner as cornerback 1. They just wouldn't. So, that is a question that I still have.
Corners as CB1, so.
To be fair, we both see it the same way. If you can play, you can play. Cooper DeJean could play. It was ridiculous. He got to the second round. I will never – but he's got to cut down on penalties. He had 7 last season, so another guy that has to cut down on penalties. But I can't say enough good things about his mentality, his competitiveness. He's more competitive at the catch point. He plays bigger than that size. He gives you everything he has. Hey, I may not be the biggest. I might not be the fastest, but you're going to get every damn ounce that I have in my body to give you. So I love this kid. Love him. And you can talk about him, and then we'll move on to your safety 5, which is Rod Moore. But if you want to talk about Terrell, who you had at corner 6.
Yeah, I did have him at 6. So I see him in a pretty similar light. I think you set it up really well for like just the willingness and everything for him. I think the reason that I knock him back a little bit more is I love the willingness. I respect the understanding for the game and all those. He just has to add more play strength. Like right now, he's got an understanding. He's got a willingness. He's got a drive to him. I need him to just add some strength, add some size to be effective in it. And ultimately, if he can do that, he's another one of those players that I think could easily move up because he plays such a high-level brand of football where, you're not having to teach him those things. You're not having to, coach him up on the elements that, take a lot of guys a long time to understand. And especially if there's deficiencies in like the understanding, the IQ for the game, he's there. I need to see him get bigger. If he can't add that play strength, if he can't add that mass, I have a hard time with him because, and I love the McDuffie comp, but ultimately I think that, there's for every one McDuffie, there's 15 guys that come through that, are not able to play at a high level because they just don't have the size. I think that Terrell will be able to play at a high level, but I got to see him put more mass on.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, there's a lot I like with this kid, and I'll say this right now. I still don't think he's the number 1 corner drafted. He's my corner 1, but I just had this feeling he'll be like the 3rd or 4th corner drafted because there's going to be the guys like the A.J. Harrises or the Christian Grays or Damani Jacksons with more of a physical size profile, length profile that the NFL, that somebody rises and gets up there. Jermon McCoy being bigger, more physical, maybe more, I don't know. The physical profile, I think, is the best way to say it than what he has. But I think he's a guy who, like Trent McDuffie, might be the 3rd, 4th corner taken in his draft and then outplays him. That's how I feel about him, and that's why he's my corner 1. But I think it's a fair point. And before I move on to safety, stranger asked Dell, and I will toss it to you too. Not that you watch the Bengals, but if you had to choose right now, which corner would you draft to the Bengals? For me, it'd be Terrell, and I know we have Dax Hill, and that could change once I see Dax Hill in the slot because I loved him as more of a slot guy coming out of Michigan. So, and I know we got him for the 5th-year option already, but it wouldn't keep me from taking Terrell and figuring it out and having more versatility. And I think Al Golden could look at it the same. But I want to keep that A.J. Harris out there as well because I think his upside and trajectory would be really good. So, like if the Bengals went in the first round, because if we're talking outside the first round, it's impossible to predict right now. So I'm just going to say if the Bengals took a corner in the first round, which wouldn't shock me, it wouldn't because Cam Taylor-Britt could be a free agent after this season. If he has a big year, he probably gets a bigger deal elsewhere. But I would say keep an eye on an A.J. Harris. Do you have a guy Bengals fans should really keep an eye on? It could be one of the guys you talked about, a Christian Gray or Xavier Scott or whoever.
For me, I think Christian Gray for sure. Okay. Yeah, Christian Gray for me. I think like if you take a look at him and what he can do, and you know, like you said, if it's not a first round guy, I think that there's a handful of these second round guys that you can see within there. That would be one that I would absolutely point to. And obviously, I mean, like, yeah, if you're talking about first round guys, Jermon McCoy, I think all day you're getting a guy that as long as he can come back from that, he's going to be an absolute dude.
Yep, for sure. All right, we will switch over. We'll try to hit some corners if we got time. We're almost an hour in and we're just now getting to safety. So we're probably not going to have a huge rundown. This thing's going to go long. At least we got a little extra time. We said we may have to go an hour and a half for this one, but safety 5 for you is Rod Moore from Michigan, who missed all last season with an injury. But I had him as a day 2 type of guy. Day 2 type of guy before this season. He's not my top 5, but it's mainly just want to see how he looks after the injury. But I love him, and the size is what scares me. I have him at 12. When I saw he was 5'11", 182, I was like, ooh, for a safety, that hurts me because I like his game, to be fair.
I'm not going to lie. Basically, I like my top 4. After that, I think that there's a lot of guys. And I think the safety class is really good.
Yes.
But
we said the corner class we're kind of hit and miss on.
Yeah, I think that there are so many guys that are going to be like top 100 or top 120 talents in this safety group. But I struggle after my number 4. And Rod Moore for me right now is the guy that like kind of comes in and you mentioned it, he's 5'10". He's like 5'11". He's 5'10" and 7/8. 182 pounds though. He's so light. And I don't know.
For safety, that's tough.
That's tough. And he's not playing a brand of football that like you're not going to say, oh, we'll make him a slot safety. That's not him. That is not Rod Moore. I will say he does have. I don't know why I find this funny. He's got 32.5-inch arms at 5'10", which is incredible.
Awesome for a defensive back. Period. Any defensive back.
Exactly. So, like, that's just kind of like a little fun tidbit, and that's verified spring measurement. So you'll take that. Yeah. So, granted, everything I'm watching is 2023. The Rod Moore that you saw in 2023 for that Michigan team, you absolutely love. He's such a good player. I mean, there is a reason that he was able to be a part of that championship defense because he was such an instinctive player. I love his range in cover 2. I think he moves really well as a blanket defender. And once again, I don't necessarily want to see him in a slot coverage assignment. I don't think that's his game. I think he lives really well in the box.
That's what I'm having the toughest time with, Newt, because I'm like, being 180, you are not a slot corner. You are not.
The problem.
You are not a Cooper DeJean. You are not these things.
Yeah, so I do like him as a blanket defender. And here's the wild part. I love him in run defense. Like, I think he's got a great mentality. He moves downhill well. The athleticism and the twitch, just everything's there. You're not going to be able to do it in the NFL at 182 pounds. Like, and I had the same exact thing with Terrell. You can have that mentality, and that's a wonderful thing. But until you add and for Rod Moore, we're talking about 25 pounds of mass, in my opinion. I don't know if he can put 25 pounds of mass on that frame and still be effective.
Nope.
That scares me.
And I love his game. I love the 23 tape. Like I said, I'm with you.
It's
like
so much. He's so dominant as a two-way player in coverage and run defense. The missed tackle rate is phenomenal. Like the team leader, the leadership, all of those things. And we mentioned it. It's the slender frame. It's the injury history. I think that he's a little high-waisted in his back pedal. That's it. Like that's what I have written down for my negatives for him. Like other than that, it's just we have a guy that plays all those elements really, really well. But I just struggle with are you going to be able to play that after the collegiate level?
I'm just wanting to see how he looks this whole season coming off of missing a year. So that's why I'm just putting him a little lower. But I remember the 23 tape, and I remember he could have came out that year, and I remember thinking, I'd take this guy in the third round. I'd take him in the top 100. I'm not going to shit on the guy because I remember that, I remember feeling that way about him then. I thought he was bigger. So when I seen that size, I was like fucking floored, to be honest. And I already had him a little lower being cautious off the injury, but the size now I'm really scared. But hey, prove me wrong, Rod Moore, and prove Newt right this season, buddy, but not against Ohio State because I'm tired of losing.
I was waiting for it to come.
Yeah, fuck that. Zakee Wheatley, 6'3", 200, was incredible for Penn State.
Hold the phone. Do we the McGregor clip? Who the fuck is that guy?
You don't know who Zakee Wheatley is?
No. What?
Okay.
I don't even written down.
Okay.
I don't even have this guy written down.
Get him down. 6'3", 200. Let's start there. Size, length. So he's never really been a full-time starter. It was the injury to the kid. I'm blanking on his name. Winston, maybe? What was that fucker's name that got injured in the first or second game last year for Penn State? Still went in the draft, but missed most of the season.
Kevin Winston Jr.?
Yeah, Kevin Winston Jr. It was Winston. All right. But he's still a lot of experience. So he had over 1,500 snaps entering this season. He still played a ton of football. It's just he hasn't necessarily been like, hey, you're a full-time starter at this spot, that spot. But he comes in, he plays a lot. He's improved each year. Last year, I'll just read you off his stats and ask you why you don't have him on your list. He had almost 100 tackles, 3 interceptions, and a forced fumble. Elite 87.7 run defense grade. Didn't record a single penalty. Now, he did allow 62.5% completion rate. I said you see that a lot with safeties and cornerbacks. Yeah. It sounds high, but it's not as crazy as you guys think. I think he's very good anticipating routes. He's rangy. He's got long arms, being 6'3" as well. He's got to clean up the missed tackles a bit. But overall, this is a damn good football player. Zakee Wheatley's a guy to watch out for. A veteran, a leader in the back end of that defense. He really, where he honestly knew, I didn't know him too much, even with the season he had. It was during their couple playoff games where I'm like, oh, who's this kid? Because I wasn't a big Reed fan, their other safety. I didn't really like him a lot. And I'm like, oh, this Wheatley kid's 10 times the fucking player this Reed kid is. And then the more I went back and watched through the summer, I was like, oh, I fucks with this Zakee Wheatley. So he comes in at 5 for me.
Nice.
Which is another reason, dude, when I say I'm high on this safety class, and you hear me say I've got a guy down at 12 like a Rod Moore, but I said I viewed him in 2023 as a day 3, a top 100 player. Yeah. I love this safety class. Now, your safety 4 is a guy that I had higher, but let's see where I ended up with him. 9. So it's not crazy. He's in the top 10. But Michael Taft.
Hate Michael Taft.
No, I hate when I was on a podcast with Bill Sparks. And I'm thinking this guy's a lot bigger because I'm like, he's great in coverage. He could be a slot corner. He could be a safety. And Bill Sparks tells me his weight, 5'11", 175. And I go, 170. He's a slot corner. But he's still in my top 10, knowing all that. And he's in your top 5 because he's a good football player. He's a good football player. And he may be a slot corner. I think he's going to be a slot corner in the NFL, to be honest.
Yeah, so and that was one that kind of got me too. It was the same. Like you see Rod Moore, and you're kind of like, the frame looks thin. I didn't think Taft was gonna be this thin, and
blew my mind.
Once again, he's an inch taller and he's 7 pounds lighter, and it's just like what? and he's honest to God, he's an outlier for me because everything you look at him, you're like, he's small, he's light, he's got short arms.
But this kid's a walk-on, Newt. Let's talk about
he's
the
a
good things.
walk-on. Yeah, he's got like, and I'm just kind of listening to the negatives. He's got over a 20% missed tackle percentage. It's like, what is it with this guy? Watch him play as even a single high safety, and I promise you'll understand it. Watch him play in slot coverage, and he is so damn good as a cover safety, where if you're looking for that part of his game, you've got a guy, as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, the 0-star, I'm always gonna like have a little bit more of a place in my heart for those guys. 0-star recruit comes on, walks on, and he's just an absolute dude. He's played almost 1,500 career snaps for Texas. He's been starting for the better part of 2 years, now going on 3. Yep. Academic all conference, like a smart player, understands the elements of the game. And with him, he's going to play a very niche role. Like if you see him play in terms of his run defense, it's okay, but he's not going to be a guy that's going to be able to like be there and really be that bulk defending.
And he's got to stop hitting dudes in the head.
Man, one time. It happens one time, and people can't let it go.
No, it's happened more than one time. He just doesn't always get kicked out for it. This guy.
Well, he didn't. So the Arizona State game was obviously like the most scrutinized one.
Yes, that one was scrutinized. Yeah.
Yeah. So he came in and he gave a wallop to a guy. And I think, once again, it's like his technique and his approach to the game. Like you just have to learn better tackle technique. The willingness is there. The mentality is there, but you got to be able to tackle guys better because, truth be told, it should have been a targeting call in that college football playoff game. It wasn't. There's no reason to like hash it out again. But those are the pieces where I'm like, he is so pigeonholed to just being really a cover safety guy. But holy shit, is he a phenomenal cover safety guy. I think the range is impressive. I already talked about the IQ. I think it translates to his play on the field. The fluidity in his back pedal and his lateral agility, I think, is so incredibly impressive. So the way that he moves, I don't think he's going to necessarily be like a true single high guy in the NFL, but I think you can put him as a part of a too high look, and he's going to be able to be a really reliable player that can play in that system and, take half the field and put a cap on it and put a really damn good cap on that. Now, does that delegate him to maybe only, third down situations and those things? Maybe, but holy shit, this guy, if he can clean those things up and continue to be a high level pass defender, I think he's there. And realistically for me, he's not going to sit here at number 4 unless he gets better in terms of his tackling and his run defense. He's got to clean that up to be able to live as a top 5 safety for me. But the elements of his coverage ability, I can't ignore that. He's so damn good at that.
Yeah. Him being in my top 10 says a lot because I love this safety class. It says a lot about the competitiveness and the reasons I loved Avion Terrell and have him at 1, even though he's undersized. It's that competitive, that leadership, that mentality. And that's from a former walk-on to a team leader to a guy who's played a ton of football for them that's looked at by his teammates. And there's a lot of good players at Texas. And on that defense. And he is looked at as the guy, the leader. It says a lot about him as a person. So me having him in my top 10 is not, and not in my top 5 is, it says more about him, honestly, because I've watched so many guys and I love the safety class. It's actually a good thing. I just worry about that size. I worry about the missed tackle rate. I worry about some of those things, but I'm like, man, if someone's got to find a way, and I've been burnt, to be fair, maybe I'm trying not to be burnt again is why I still didn't just double down and keep him in my top 5. Guys like Emmanuel Forbes, guys like Tank Dell, these smaller guys.
Those guys were like historically thin, though, like sub 170.
I know, but 175 for his safety is terrifying.
You're not wrong, but
And I'm just saying, I think that's why, but I still have him in my top 10 because he is that good. There's guys in my top 10 that I love, but they didn't make the top 5. So, but a guy like Kamari Ramsey from USC did. 6 foot 204 redshirt junior, was originally at UCLA, transferred to USC before last season. I think he's great in coverage, one of the better coverage safeties. Obviously Taft too, but this guy's 204 instead of 175, so going to have him in my top 5 and not Michael Taft for that reason. But I think he's got good recovery speed. The athleticism's there, anticipation skills, physical, but he needs to improve finishing as a tackler, 20% missed tackle rate, which is similar to Taft, who I think was around 22. And he can get his eyes caught in the backfield too much, and the double moves and things like that, and the plays over the top could hurt him. And I got a pop-up saying, we're having trouble streaming to Facebook. Well, fuck you, Facebook. I mean, what am I supposed to do about it? Stream it or don't. And that's why you always subscribe to YouTube. Because those things happen on Facebook and Twitter. So go on YouTube. But yeah, I've got Ramsey at 4. Is he? I don't think he's in your top 5, is he?
He's number 6.
Okay. So yeah, you probably view him pretty similar to me.
Very similar. Very similar type player. Like the comp you're making to Taft, I think it makes a ton of sense. Obviously, the size difference is going to be the biggest thing between the two.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll keep this train rolling. Safety 3, Terry Moore, a guy. Where did I have him? And I once again love this safety. I have him at 10, so he is in my top 10. I like Terry Moore from Duke, 6 foot 195, versatile player, good size, smooth athlete. Continue with him.
I love Terry Moore. So he's another guy. I mean, I feel like these DBs were talking about injuries a ton. So Terry Moore's coming off an ACL. Unlike McCoy, I think McCoy's going to see the field before Terry Moore does, unfortunately. Just by the sounds of it, but they both had a similar time frame. I think it was early January. Both of them tore their ACL. Terry Moore's was actually in the bowl game, though. So you take that, you put that in a scope. He is finally have a big cornerback. Well, bigger, I shouldn't say big. 5'11", 196. Then that's verified too. So that kind of helps in that element. He's about 31.5-inch arms. So for Terry Moore, the big thing for me is you look at a guy that plays a really complete brand of football at the safety position. He is a stellar run defender. He plays really good in coverage. He had 4 picks last year, 5 pass breakups, an NFL pass rating of balls thrown his way at 46.1, which is phenomenal. You see some of those picks on film, you're looking at him like that is a professional level interception, understanding of the game and those elements. So the corner coverage is great. I think he plays really well as a slot defender, even when he's asked like jam players. I think he plays physical, the run defense, all of these things he does at a high level. The missed tackle rate, he's got to clean up. That was not where it needs to be. 16.7, not like over that 20% mark, but as a safety, you want to be, we kind of give cornerbacks a little bit more of a leeway because they're playing in the boundary, and that's not like they're even their first or second job. But like as a safety, you got to be a little bit better than that. The top end speed is okay. And this play strength needs to improve, but those are all kind of like things you see on film. The thing that gets me really jacked about Terry Moore is this guy is a true senior at Duke. He played his first season as a running back. He played high school ball as a running back. And with that, he's been playing safety for 2 years. He's doing this. He is a preseason All-ACC and some All-American preseason mentions as a 2-year player at the safety position. So if he's done what he's kind of set out to do in those 2 years, and he continues to grow and develop as a safety, I am just so damn excited about what he can do. And I think if you take that ACL tear away from him, I think a lot of people are talking about him easily as a top 5 safety. I know I'm higher on him than most, but this is a guy that I think is a legitimate player that can continue to grow and develop and become a true safety one on an NFL roster as long as that trajectory continues.
Yeah, and I still had him, like I said, in the top 10, 71 tackles. That's insane. 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. I have heard that maybe he's not a speedster. He's not going to test well, and that's what's going to probably hurt his draft stock a little bit. So I think I already kind of have him in more of the range where I could see the NFL take him a little over, but I believe in the player. I'm with you, and I think I have no issue with you having him at 3. I have Jalen Kilgore at 3, not in your top 5. Don't know where you have him. Some people have him with corners. Some people have him with safety.
So I have him as a cornerback. I have him, and if you look at my rankings, it looks like I hate Jalen Kilgore because I evaluated him as a corner, and I think I've got like a day 3 grade on him. But watching him, I was like, this dude is massive, and he's playing primarily in the slot. Like, I got to go back and look at him as a safety.
Yeah, look at him as a safety. He's 6'2", 219. We're talking about guys that are 175, 178, 180, 183 for some of these guys, 200. This guy's 219, 6'2". Yeah. I don't think South Carolina is doing him any favors by not playing him at safety, and that's some of that tape you see. But you see what he can be at safety because he's got pretty decent speed. He's obviously got the size, the ball skills, and physicality. So the ball skills, 5 interceptions last year. He triggers downhill quickly. So as a safety, everything about his game screams he should be a safety to me when I watch him. I think he's got to improve with the ball in the air. He does panic at times, gets grabby, and even his tackling. And that's maybe the reason as a safety, that's scary. He's a bit of an ankle diver. You know, he'll dive at the ankles instead of squaring up. You're 6'2", 220. Run through somebody's face, buddy. Run through them. Don't dive at their ankles. So that's what I have on Kilgore. He plays today. That game, I believe, is at 3:30, South Carolina, Virginia Tech.
Yep.
Another game I'm going to be Eastern time, 3:30. I know Newt's on a different time zone, I believe, right?
Yeah, Central time
look
here.
At me. Yeah, look at me. But yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll talk about Dylan Finneman. We have 2 and 1 the same, so we didn't have much to say this time. Now we're back to what we do, and our top 2 are the same, unlike corners.
If they weren't, I was going to be like, what do we got going on here?
Yeah, it would have been insane not to have these 2 because Finneman's. I'll let you talk about it more. I'm
not even a Finneman guy, but I still respect his game.
Yeah, and I want to see how he does at Oregon. But 6'2", 207, transferring from Purdue. I mean, production has just been insanity. Over 100 tackles each year. Physical. Film junkie is how he's described by coaches and teammates. He's decisive instincts is what I put. I'm going to go. I'm going to click, close, boom. Here I go. I'm going to lay the lumber. Range. And then, like, a reason I had to – because I kind of went back and forth, to be honest, having him at 3 or 4. And it ultimately settled at 2 because I was like, I don't know about his – and then it's reported he's a 4.3 guy. So I gave it the bump. If he tests like that with the production he has and the things he does – but I do think he's not the best guy in coverage. He's not super consistent with pursuit angles. He's got to stop biting on misdirection and play action.
Pursuit angles are weird.
Yes.
They're really weird.
But it's like, how does this guy just produce the way he produces? So I have him at 2 because some people love this guy and have him over Caleb Downs. But I settled at 2, but I'm like, I've had him at 3 and 4 at different points of the summer. So your thoughts on Finneman and why you also settled with him at 2? Because I feel like we're both kind of seeing the same thing, that we're not 100% sold on being like a first-round guy like some people see it.
So my grade on him is, like, I do have a first-round grade on him. It is fringe first round.
Yes.
So he comes in.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, he's number 18 for me. He might even be my last first-round grade that I have. But if you take a look at him, there's a couple things. Number one, you take a look at his freshman tape, and it's just like the most insane thing you've ever watched. Like, he burst on the scene at Purdue, and he was just absolutely electric. And you mentioned already the 100 tackles, but the way that he played.
He should have went to Ohio State in the transfer portal. I'll say that, because they wanted him, and he chose. They would have had him.
They just got the consolation prize. Are you talking about this year?
Yes, they wanted him in the portal this year. They could have had him and Downs as their starting safeties.
I thought you were talking about from his freshman and their sophomore year. I was going to say, oh, no, they just got this guy named Caleb Downs instead. Like, what a consolation prize.
No, they could have had both. With the way they just played Texas on defense. Imagine that.
Embarrassment of riches there, but I digress. Thieneman, I think a lot of the things that I saw for him just go down to how absolutely atrocious Purdue used him and how little talent that team put around him. And I'm so glad he transferred out of there because he was like the guy and there was no one else around him. Did you get a chance to watch like the Notre Dame game with him?
I think so.
He played 25 yards off the line of scrimmage. Like when I'm watching,
there's more than one game where they have him like that.
It's like I think it was like the first 3 or 4 games of the season. It looks like from the all 22 angle, it looks like a punt coverage play.
Yeah, but Bro's back receiving a punt as a safety.
That's what it looked like, and I was like, why does this look so weird? And it's because they had to zoom so far out so they could get Thieneman on the screen because he's playing in this ridiculous single high roll.
Yeah, it's fucking dumb, dude.
He is doing 25-yard wind sprints on damn near every play that's a run play so he can step up and make the play. And so, like, there's so many things about that tape where it's like, God, this did not showcase the athlete, the player that he was. Now, I like how he moves downhill. I think the conditioning, you saw it in that Notre Dame game.
He has to. This guy has to be conditioned.
He's just running wind sprints on every play. The rangy player that he is as a single high guy, I think he can actually play like a true single high. Like I mentioned Taft. I don't think Taft can do that in the NFL. I think Thieneman could. I really, really do.
Right.
And then the IQ, and you mentioned it like he's a film junkie, the IQ and the understanding. I wrote down the missed tackle rate. He had a 12.8% missed tackle rate. The Notre Dame game killed him because I think he had about 4 or 3 missed tackles in that game alone. And once again, it's just this shit style of play that they have him set up in. So I'm like definitely willing to give him a pass there because that's not the way that he was. The pursuit angles, you mentioned it. He does like this weird banana and he gets himself out of position on a play outside. And it drove me nuts. And he doesn't just do it once. Like he just crashes down way too hard. And you're like, what are you doing? You're too smart of a player to make this mistake over and over and over. So that was probably the first true knock I had against him. And then secondly, I think he gives up too much of a cushion, especially in cover 2 or cover 3 situations, because he is explosive enough. He is quick enough where he does not need to give that up. The recovery speed's there. I want him to play a little bit more aggressive in those blanket coverage situations.
Yeah, and we'll go to Caleb Downs, safety 1, but I can see it now, I can see it now. His testing. If I'm him, I don't test. I'm going to be honest.
Downs?
I don't test. Test. And I'm all for players testing at least at a pro day if they're not going to do it at the scouting combine and shit, but I don't test if I'm him. I let my film, my play speak for itself because if he tests, he's not going to help himself. He's 6'2", 205. He's not the biggest guy already, so he's a RAS score for this guy. It's not going to be good. He's not a burner. He's not this. He's not that. What he is, and we talked about it. This is the show where we're going to talk about the Eagles corner, Dejon Cooper, over and over. Cooper Dejon, Dejon Cooper, Cooper Dejon, whatever his fucking name is. But good football players are good football players, and Caleb Downs is just a good football player. Had that tackle, was in the right position, was on injuries, and good on Arch getting that ball off at the end of the game. But, I mean, first-team All-American last year. Phenomenal as a true freshman at Alabama, leading tackler over 100, I think, that season. But 82 tackles, 2 interceptions last year. Elite football IQ, film junkie. We talked about it with Thieneman. This guy knows where to be, what to do. I don't love the way he dives at ankles as well. You talk about players doing that. But he has specialized doing that he almost never misses tackles doing it. He always finds a way to – and it adds to his range where maybe he doesn't have the speed. By doing it, he can trip a guy up out of nowhere. He's just so smart and so talented that he does it because he does it consistently over and over and over.
Yep.
And it's like, but he can square up and hit somebody. If you just look at the grade wise, and he can return punts. He had a punt return touchdown against Indiana last year and returned more for Alabama, but 86.4 run defense grade, 85 coverage grade. So it's just like he's in the right places. He's not the best athlete. He's not the biggest. He's in the right places. He's smart. The football IQ, when you talk about football IQ, it is off the charts for this player. He could be more consistent with his pursuit angles at times, which is sometimes why he does have to make the dive instead of being able to square up with guys because he takes a little bit of pursuit angles that I think he could clean up. And I'd like to see him create more turnovers, but I don't know, man. He's just one of those guys. You put him in the box, you put him wherever, he's going to make plays. He's safety 1. I think he could be the rare player at safety to go top 15. I'm not even saying top 10, but top 15 at safety, it just doesn't happen very often. And he's going to be a great NFL player. So I love Caleb Downs, and it's not the Buckeye homer in me. He's a good football. If he was still at Alabama, I'd be talking about him just the same. He's a good football player.
Yeah, I mean, and just, in that, I don't do this with a lot of guys, but you look at the accolades that he has. He's freshman All-SEC first team, 2023 SEC Freshman of the Year, and he's a 2023 Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year. That's nationally. Did all that at Alabama. He goes to Ohio State. Ohio State. Sorry. I get corrected. The Ohio State. Last year, he's a Thorpe Award finalist, first team All Big Ten, Big Ten Tatum Woodson DB of the Year, and a first team All American, as you mentioned. Like this dude, Mr. Consistency, everything that you mentioned is just hits him to a T. There's a play. I don't know. It was Michigan or was it Texas? I know it was Michigan. They're playing. Jack Sawyer gets put in a situation where he's got to play in coverage. I don't know if it was like a blown defense or what. Jack Sawyer's back. Quarterback makes the throw, goes over his head, but there was some miscommunication. Sawyer gets up, he's pumped. He's like, didn't make the catch, XYZ. Caleb Downs is losing his mind because he's like, how the hell did we let that happen? He is all business all the time. Every single snap for him. He is
coach on the field.
In.
Coach on the field.
He 100% is. And it's just like, those are the little things you see them and you're like, this guy's different. Like he's not only got the skill, the understanding, he has that mentality that just permeates every single element that he's in. The awareness and coverage, the ability to be a thumping, run-stopping safety at 6 feet tall, which I actually like his frame. I think that it goes back to that cornerback conversation. I think when you're 6 feet tall, you're able to be a little more versatile. He's over 200 pounds. I can get on board with that. But the versatility, he's got to be a coverage safety to even play in the slot a little bit and be obviously a dominant box safety is just insane to look at. My negatives for him are he had a missed tackle rate that could stand to go down. He had a 10% missed tackle rate last year.
Right.
I'm picking at that.
Because you have to find things to put in the negative column.
Yeah, and you look at it's like, oh, he's a 6 foot frame and he's tackling running backs. That's probably the reason why. But I can still nitpick at that because we're talking about, and I'll go ahead and throw it out. Like we're talking about what could be a generational type talent at the safety position because he is phenomenal there. And you got to start to find some of those.
Now, everyone's mad for anyone that said about Arch Manning. We got to stop saying generational. Everyone's mad about it, but
I'll say what the fuck I want about Caleb Downs though because he's so goddamn good. Caleb Downs, I think, is a generational type talent because of the way that he carries himself and the way that he plays. And people will talk about Kyle Hamilton because of the buzz around Hamilton and things. Kyle Hamilton's got 4 inches and about 15 pounds on Caleb Downs. And Downs is still doing all of that at just as high of a level. And you can kind of compare those two together. I think they're going to elicit a lot of comparisons. As
Kyle Hamilton just got cha-ching, Brinks truck. Backed up.
I do think he does play out of control at times. I like his mentality, and I think that kind of leads a little bit to him maybe hitting the wrong hole, being impatient there. And his top speed's okay, and it goes back to you saying he's probably not going to test because I think that's the smartest thing for him. Sure. I said he can get beat by quicker receivers if he's ever out of position. He's not out of position though. He doesn't play out of position.
Yeah,
like we mentioned it for some of those guys like a Xavier Scott or something like that. And like I love Xavier Scott, but like he put himself out of position a couple times, and you saw that top end speed kind of like hurt him. Caleb Downs doesn't do that, and I think that's like the elements you look and you're like, shit, what does this guy outside of him being only 6 foot 205, which still isn't a bad size?
No, it's not like awful,
incredible, but it's not a bad size. What do you have to knock against this guy? He's smart. He's instinctive. He's stellar in both parts of the game. I love Caleb Downs.
And he was smart enough to leave Alabama when Saban left because holy shit, Kalen DeBoer, man. Kalen DeBoer, that seat is already hot, buddy. It's hot already in your second season.
Yes, it is.
Woo. Don't feel good if I'm Kalen DeBoer today. But yeah, Caleb Downs, though, not Caleb DeBoer. Caleb Downs is a dude, and he should go in the top 15. If he went in the top 10, I'm not saying it would surprise me. I'm saying I like Kyle Hamilton. Why didn't he? I like that.
That blows my mind.
Oh man, Chargers safety. Was it Ramsey? I feel like it's not. Who am I thinking of? Went like 17th overall.
I'm blanking now.
I think it's the Chargers. I don't know. Their safety. He's an all-pro, like from Florida State.
I'm blanking. You're tapping my knowledge before I started like really digging into it more.
Whatever. Either way, I'm saying some of the better safeties was the point. Some of the better safeties that have come out that should have been top 10, 15 picks, in my opinion, they fall. And it's like, why'd this guy fall? Why? And it's just because the positional value by the NFL. Oh, Derwin James. Thank you. Jesus, thank you. Yes.
Derwin James.
I blew it because I said because I'm still thinking Kamari Ramsey. I'm like, I don't think that's right. I'm thinking Jalen Ramsey, Derwin
that's
James.
That's where I went. I'm like,
it's
definitely not Jalen. Okay.
Jalen Ramsey, Derwin James. I don't know. Somehow I got all off there. But yeah, man. Shit, we're an hour and a half in already. I don't even think we have time for a rundown.
We can tickle little fancies with
we'll just stick with safety. Rundown. We'll stick with safety. Keon Saab, Alabama 6'1", was originally at Michigan. Did you have anything on him? I think solid player was injured last year, and then Bray Hubbard came along, who's also on this list is my like safety 8, 6'2", 215 junior. Could be another year from now, but I mean, after Saab got hurt, 57 tackles, 3 interceptions for the season, great ball skills, instincts, all that. But a guy at 7, I at least wanted to get to this guy, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, 6'3", 209, punched the ball out yesterday. Good ball skills, reliable tackler, 84.4 coverage grade. You talked about long arms, 32.5. Yes, he's 6'3". You want long arms, but you still don't always see it. So 32.5 arm length, fluid athlete, rangy.
That size is so good.
6 career forced fumbles goes up to 7 because he had one yesterday. Good reading reactability, reliable tackler. So under that 10%, 8.7%. It is a bit at lower level competition, but I've still seen him play.
At Toledo, yeah. But you've seen guys make that step,
especially from Toledo. But he had a shoulder injury and missed some time last year at the end of the season. I think he could be even more physical with his size at run defender. But this is a top 75 type guy, and I have him at safety 7. I wrote he's a top 75 type of player. He's safety 7, so I really think it could be a good class. Did you have anything on McNeil-Warren?
I did not. I didn't get a chance to break him down in terms of his film. I got him on my list, and I was able to like take a look at him, but not enough to really speak to him outside of the measurables.
Yeah, I was late on him too. I had him a lot lower in the draft guide over the summer, and like I just kept hearing his name, and I went back and watched him more, and I go, "Oh, okay. I'm sorry, sir. I was not familiar with your game." So yeah, I ended up putting him at 7. He didn't make the top 5, but holy shit, I like this kid. Yeah. I mentioned the 2 Bama safeties in Saab and Hubbard. You had Taft. We already talked about him. He was my 9. Terry Moore was my 10. You had Xavier Nwankpa from Iowa, 6'2", 215, switching to free safety. So people are expecting him to have a better year. Scheme versatile, physical, good range, football IQ, pursuit speed. Where did you have him? Wongpud, did you watch him? Got anything on
He was
him? I had him in
he was number 7 for me.
Okay.
And I think that's a very hopeful 7. Like there's a big step back. So there's a big step back from like Kamari Ramsey to Wampa.
Yeah.
I think he's got to prove it. Like
it's all been more like we're expecting it every year and we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I mean, he did it at a high level his sophomore year, and then he made the position change.
Yeah.
And now he's back, and it's like, if you can get to that sophomore film and we know what you are, then awesome. I can't wait.
So Rod Moore, I had at 12. You already had him on your list, so we've discussed him. Bud Clark, 6'1", 189, a sixth-year senior, the old man. TCU, very good in coverage, 90.1 grade, willing and capable in run support. He's got 11 interceptions for his career, so – Bud Clark, anything on him?
I just got the 3 picks from last year. I didn't realize he had 11 career interceptions.
Yeah, 11 for his career. Like, and he's just one of those guys. I thought he was coming out last year, so he was like a day 3 guy. But I'm like, oh, he's coming back again? I'm like, I don't know. You put the whole career together, and I'm like, he can play. But anytime you're in college for 6 years, I get a little nervous. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, so the fact that, he's played a ton of his snaps in the box, and he's got a lighter frame. It's just one of those where I think ultimately he's probably getting like that feedback that like right now his brand of football is really good at the collegiate level was it TCU, right?
Yep.
I think he's just got to continue to prove that he can do it I think he's got to put mass on it. He's going to play as a box safety, truth be told. But man, the instincts are insane.
Yeah. I have Robert Spears Jennings. I see our guy Jim in the chat there. Draft Professor, check it out. This is our relevant podcast. We love Jim. We love everything that is there. You see us on there at times. But Spears Jennings, 6'1", 211, Oklahoma. Senior, really good size, violent finisher, reliable as a tackler. 93.1 run defense grade per PFF. That's insanity. He's not as good in coverage, but I don't think he's a complete liability there. He could take some better pursuit angles. A lot of these guys, you'll hear me say that about him. A lot of people are not good at doing it. And I think he'll benefit from this extra year of experience at Oklahoma. And Oklahoma looks like a team with my guy, John Mateer at quarterback. Just saying. I was a John Mateer guy, and I look pretty right so far.
No, I agree.
Did you have anything on Spears?
Yeah, I mean, RSJ is insane when you talk about box safeties and you talk about a guy that's able to play that strong side and really just be a thumper in the run game. And like you said, he's not a liability. This is, I think, where the depth of this safety class really starts to show itself, where we're talking about a guy here that, like, he's not a one-size-fits-all, and he can do a lot of those different things. So I like RSJ a lot. I got
Isaiah Nwakobia, 6'1", 202, 88.3 coverage grade, 7 interceptions the last 2 years combined out of SMU. You watched him yet?
I haven't. He's on my list. I just got the numbers on him. Love the size, love the grades from last year, but I haven't put any eyes on his film.
Tao Johnson or Tao John. I'm probably
Tao Johnson.
Wrong. Yeah.
Another Utah guy.
Yeah, Utah guy. Man, Utah's got some guys, man. 6'1", 193, 85 coverage grade, versatile. Is originally a wide receiver. But he's originally a wide receiver. Why aren't they getting him at wide receiver at Utah when they're giving everyone else a chance to play offense? Come on, get our guy Johnson out there. But I think he's physical, good range. And then Miles Scott's another guy Jim mentioned. I have him at 17, 5'11", 210, durable, 800 snaps each of the last 2 seasons. So you're talking about a guy who's on that field a lot. Really good ball skills. He's a team captain, 77.6 coverage grade. Anything on Johnson or Scott before we move on?
Did you happen to see what Johnson's forced incompletion percentage was?
I don't have that down.
31.3%.
Holy fuck!
That's insane.
That is enough. We talked about it. You see it in the 60s. When a guy's in the 40s, I go, take note of that. If a guy's in the 30s, you go, what the hell?
No, so it's not his completion percentage, his forced incomplete, but his forced incompletion percentage.
All right, so what's that number breakdown?
Like effectively, for every ball thrown your way, an incompletion that you yourself force. So, like, if you're in coverage, a ball that's thrown at you, it is an incompletion that you are making. It doesn't have to be like
what's a high number for that? Like, what's a good number and a bad number?
20% would be a phenomenal number.
And he's at 30?
He's at 31.
He's not a corner.
and he's not a corner. He's a safety, and he's playing effectively. What that means is almost every third ball that gets thrown his way, he is causing the incompletion.
Yeah, that's really damn good. Thank you for the breakdown. That's not a number. I'll try to make that a number because that every number matters. Like, and you try to find the numbers that you find in the players that and how it translates, and you see it translate in the NFL, and you go, oh yeah, oh people don't have this guy, but I've got and always it's tape, but these numbers are the tape. They get the numbers from the tape, people. So don't hate on these numbers. Sage Ryan, 5'11", 200, former 5-star, transferred to Ole Miss this offseason. Jeremiah Cooper had a lot of production, but I don't know if he's going to be anything for Iowa State. Does have 7 career INTs. Malik Spencer, Michigan State, 6'1", 200, senior. Did miss 3 games last year with an injury. Tackle production decreased, but that's going to happen with an injury. Jalen Catalon, 7th year. This guy's been in the draft guide since 1942. Extensive injury history. 4 school with Missouri this year. 10 career interceptions. AJ Halsey, LSU, 5'11", 222. Had to miss the first half of the game. Looked good in the second half. Transferring from Houston. DQ Smith playing today for South Carolina. Deuce Chestnut with Syracuse. Kendall Daniels, probably a linebacker, transferred to Oklahoma from Oklahoma State. All right, take that wherever you want, and all these players, and Jalen Catalon being 83 years old.
Catalon's the one I have when I set mine up. I got a drop down for like your year in college, and it's like redshirt, sophomore, junior. They're like the same color code because it's your 3rd year. I only went to
when he's healthy.
Yeah, I only went to 6th-year senior because, and I'm like in my head, I'm like, oh, I can get rid of this next year too because of the COVID year finally like eclipsing us. And I get to it, I'm like, God damn it, Jalen Catalon. Why are we? I had to make a new tab for him just because of how long he's been in college. So yes, I did a full breakdown of Catalon, and I actually like him a lot. There's just so much unknown about him. Can he stay healthy? Like obviously last year at Las Vegas was phenomenal. Can he continue to stay healthy? Can he play at a high level? When he was at Texas, you would hope that it didn't pan out. And oh man, it's a wild ride. Like his collegiate story
really
you could make into a feature-length film.
I hope I'm rooting for it because I think he's a talented player. I'm rooting for him that he makes it in the NFL so we can get that movie one day. That's let's try to get cornerbacks as quick as possible off the safeties. At 6, I have Will Lee the third, 6'1", 191, redshirt senior, 2 years out of community college, 1 at Kansas State, 2nd year now with Texas A&M, long, wiry, flood hips, good ball skills, 12 passes defense last year, so that shows those ball skills. That's an excellent number. Physicality and press man coverage, so that's why he's so high up on that list. Along with a lot of the guys we talked about. I don't think he's the fastest or the strongest, and he had 5 penalties last year. But this is a confident corner, a shit talker, a Chad Ochocinco for Bengals fans at cornerback. That's this guy. Did you have Will Lee? Any thoughts?
I did not. I did not get any eyes on him. There's a couple of guys I want to get in front of him, but no, I didn't.
Yeah, he's fun. We'll see how he does this year. Dalen Everett, Georgia, 6'1", 193 is who I have next. Length, athleticism, physicality. And Georgia's putting out some good players in the NFL at the cornerback position. It's his 3rd season as an outside cornerback. He disguises blitz as well. He does a lot of things. The game versus Texas was one that I had highlighted for some things he did with disguising blitzes, with an interception, with the things he did. I think that shows his football IQ. I just toss out football IQ, but that's a breakdown of a couple plays of why I say someone has football IQ. He could bulk up a little bit. I don't think he has the greatest deep speed, but we've had some other Georgia corners like Kamari Lassiter with that lately. Oh, he don't have great deep speed, but guess what? He hits the NFL and he's a good cornerback. He's a good player and he does just fine for the Texans. So did you have anything on Everett?
No, him and D'Angelo Pons are my next 2 up to watch. I might just wait a couple weeks now and just try to get 2025 film on him.
I'm going to hammer out some more names and then let you take where you want, but I like all these players a lot. So at 8, I had DJ McKinley from Colorado, 6'2", 190. Malik Muhammad, 6 foot, 178. So I hate the size, but I thought he played pretty good against Ohio State yesterday. I know that, there's some struggle, but Ohio State has a lot of good receivers, but I thought he looked really good. 71.8 coverage grade. Jermaine Matthews, I had at 10, and I feel good about the fact I had him in my top 10 because he looked incredible, and he's never been a full-time starter, but he's had to start games. He played as a true freshman for Ohio State, and as a Buckeye fan, I'm like, this is a kid that can fucking play. Whether it comes out this year or the next year, I'm like, that's a very good player. So, and then I have Keith Abney, the second, late on my radar, but Arizona State quarterback, excellent instincts, footwork, consistently smothers the opposing wide receiver. Igbinosun, 6'2", 195, long. We talked about the 16 penalties. But that is my top 12. So anything on McKinney, Muhammad, Matthews, Abney, Igbinosun.
So I go pretty much back-to-back McKinney and Muhammad. There's 7 and 8 for me. I think they were 8 and 9 for you.
Yeah, right there.
So we would have been having a really similar conversation. McKinney, I'm higher on – there's a big step between Muhammad to McKinney. I really like McKinney, and I think that you got a chance to see that yesterday, some of the things that he could come into. Both of them in a really similar situation. Both are playing behind a high-level CB1 last year that was, obviously an impact player in the draft with Travis Hunter. And why am I blanking on Texas's cornerback, Jahdae Barron? So both of them were in a CB2 type role. You want them to kind of come on. I like McKinney a little bit better. I like the length. I want to see him bulk up a little bit more, but I think that everything about his game is really fun. And once again, no overreactions in terms of like where guys are, but I like where I had McKinney yesterday in terms of what he's able to continue to develop in within that Coach Prime system. I didn't watch Keith Abney, but man, he's another guy right after Everett and Pons that I absolutely want to get eyes on because I've heard a lot of really positive buzz around him.
And my next 3, Sicario Davis, and a lot of that's going back to the fact he's going to Washington from Arizona, and a guy I liked when they were together. He had a bad season last year, but 6'4", 200. He's built different, as the kids say.
He is. He's a massive dude.
Yeah. And I think he's aggressive, and the press man ability and things that he can do. The lateral agility, which is what we talked about, that change of direction, that lateral agility when you're a bigger corner is exactly what I have written down for concerns with him. Then I have Chandler Rivers, 5'10", 180 Duke. So Terry Moore's partner in the secondary back there causing havoc. 5'10", 180, you go, oh, man, that sucks. But an active blitzer, 90.7 overall grade, ball skills, awareness, ball tracking, 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles last year. He's a slot corner. He's a slot corner all day in the NFL, I think.
He's verified shorter than that even.
Oh, fuck me. But
he's
5'9",
5'8", 5'8", and 5'8".
He's 5'9" then. I always round up. I round it up. If they're at the half, I round up. But it's not 5'10". I will put in 5'9".
He's 184.
Okay. Give my boy a little thickness there at 5'9", 184. Okay. Yep. A little trade-off. I'd probably rather have the 5'10", but he's a slot corner anyways. And Mike Hilton's a guy who played some good football for the Bengals for quite a while, so you can do it around that 5'9" range. And then speaking of 5'9" players, D'Angelo Pons I had at 15, and you were talking about getting eyes on him. 170 is what I have. But dude, had another pick yesterday. He's competitive. I talk about Havion Terrell, and that's why he's still in my top 15, because this dude is a fucking dog. He's a dog. So. And you got to get eyes on him. I had Scott at 16. Thaddeus Dixon, 17. Transferred to North Carolina from Washington. Elite grades last year, 6', 195. We'll see how he does. Jair Hill, that may be a 2-year guy from Michigan, 6'2", 185. Like, he's expected to be really good, but it hasn't quite panned out to this point. He's a true junior. We'll see what happens. Ashton Stamps kind of lost his starting job, so that's not looking like a good one, having him at 19 right now. But LSU's got some dogs in that secondary. He still made some plays, I believe, yesterday. 6', 190, true junior as well. Maybe he transfers if he can't lock down a starting job next year, but probably not even in this draft class. Theron Johnson transferred to Oregon from Northwestern. J.Q. Hardaway guy like out of Kentucky. Devin Moore, 6'3", 198 from Florida. Love Devin Moore. Injured every fucking year, and it hurts me because his talent-wise is so much higher. Jalen Gilbo from Texas, slot corner. Cam Miller transferred to Rutgers from Penn State. Ricardo Holman, 7 interceptions in 2023, bit of a down season the year before for Wisconsin, and 5'10", 190, but I like him. He dealt with injuries last year, so it's down season, injuries, it goes together.
Yep.
Sire Wright, whew, got to fire these off. He's at Nebraska, was originally at USC. He wants to be an actor, so who the fuck knows with that. Gentry Williams, Oklahoma, 6', 187. Jaden Lucas, he's almost a backup. I would love to see him be a safety for Clemson, but he's 6'2", 200. He's played good when he's played. He still played some yesterday, but he just keeps getting passed over by other guys, and they got a lot of good players in the secondary. Amari McCoy from Boise State, 6 foot, 176. Don't love that, but he's feisty. Marcus Allen, fourth-year corner for North Carolina, 6'1", 175, so small as hell. You see why these guys are down the list sometimes. I hate people that are smaller. I'm sorry. I'm fat, and they're small, so fuck you. Fistians, Breesock, 6'4", 195, long cornerback, but kind of sucks for Washington in 2024. Tony Grimes, another guy, 6th season for him. He is the Jalen Catalon of cornerbacks. Good coverage grade, transferring Purdue for his 6th season in college football. Jaden Kennedy transferring to Oregon, very versatile to play cornerback or safety. Toriana Pride transferred from Clemson to Missouri ahead of last season, second year at Missouri, 5'11", 188. Denver Harris transferring to UNLV, 4 school in 4 years, originally LSU. This guy cannot stay out of trouble, but high recruit, guy that's still playing college football. Woo!
Did you have anywhere? I don't know if you might have taken him out of the draft guide. Did you have Josh Moten at all?
Oh, fuck. Hold on. Yes, I did. And hold on. How did I not mention him? He's got to be on. I know I had Moten. Oh, at number 20. He was between Stamps and Theron Johnson.
Oh, did 6'1",
164. No, I didn't say it.
Okay.
Great call out. But Josh Moten, 6'1", 164, transferring from Marshall to, is it Southern Miss? I don't have that down. But his coach went to, I think, Southern Miss from Marshall, and he followed the coach. But 164 at 6'1". But holy shit, can this guy still play? Good.
He's 178. He's 178 verified.
Let's go. That's huge for him. And I usually wouldn't celebrate a guy only being 178, but I had him at 164.
He's also only 6 foot, but
okay, I don't care. I will take that trade off.
170. Yeah. He's 6 foot. Oh, 5'11" and 7/8, but
he's corner 20. He's corner 20 when I had him at 164. So that's how much I like this tape.
The only thing with him is going to be obviously the character concerns. Can he mature? Can he grow up? We talked about it with a couple of these guys, but the film on the field last year, incredible.
Ball hawk. He's a ball hawk.
Yes.
Good instincts, instinctive ball hawk. That describes him shortly. Anybody else I talked about in your corner?
No, Moten was the only guy that I had that was like kind of up there. I guess DJ Harvey as well. San Jose.
Yeah, I got him on my best of the rest list. I haven't watched him enough
He's about the only guy. And then you mentioned Smith Snowden earlier.
Is he draft eligible?
He's a junior, true junior.
Oh, shit. I've got him in my top 10 for 2027 already because I'm a maniac and I have those. But
it's probably more fair to mention him there, just with where he's at. But, yeah, he's a true junior.
Yeah, he's so fun, too. And I'm already watching Utah because I'm watching freaking Fano just drive guys 10 yards down the field. And I was like, oh, football's back, baby, even last night. And they got Lomu at left tackle. But then I'm like, oh, Barton at linebacker, Snowden at corner. But then those guys are playing offense. And I go, this is fun. Football is fun.
Absolutely.
What are you looking forward to today? We're almost 2 hours in, but anything that you're looking forward today in these games? We got South Carolina. I'm looking at one. A lot of guys, obviously, when you like the draft, but I'm looking at Lenore Sellers because I'm moving Arch out. Nussmeier originally had a quarterback 1. I got to see something from you, Sellers, or I'm already putting my guy Nuss Bus back at 1 with my LSU homerness here for the port.
I honestly probably I want to see Carson Beck, and as silly as it might be,
Miami versus Notre Dame. I do too.
I want to figure it out.
Yes,
the thing is, I don't need him to win that game. I don't need him to be this like superstar hero. I just want to see him go up against good Notre Dame team because
Don't
Notre
be
Dame was the one that
ass.
killed
Just don't be
Wegman
ass.
last year.
Just don't
Notre
be
Dame was the
ass.
team that killed Connor Wegman last year. Like completely dismantled his hype. Like, can Beck respond in a really good way? That's what I'm looking for.
That is a good call, and I would have to agree with that. And Notre Dame,
Sellers
is
is
there any
great,
letdown?
though,
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm quarterback 1, but shit, I'm talking cornerback 10 or off my board. Basically off undrafted if Carson Beck gets destroyed tonight. I hate this motherfucker, apparently, because I have shit talked to him the entire summer scouting draft series, which everyone can go back and check out. We hammered every position. We got it done. The cornerback and safeties was a little late. 131 people have tuned in to watch us degenerates. Start a show at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time till 1. I mean, shit, dude, it's still very early there. My wife's not going to love me because I think I've housed about 4 or 5 beers already. I did not drink yesterday at all. Like I did. So, I'm like, no, I ain't gonna have no beers on this. I'm just gonna watch ball and be like, have my analyst hat, my draft hat on.
Absolutely.
Today, I'm just gonna be yelling at the TV and throwing cans at it, saying Carson Beck to fucking bomb. Because I'm gonna be fucking hammered. My wife's gonna fucking probably leave me. I'll probably be fucking sleeping on the streets tonight. But let's go.
College football's back, baby.
College football is back. Everyone was hyped and having beers yesterday, and I saved it apparently for Sunday morning so I could talk draft prospects first.
It's fine. Labor Day's Monday. We got the day off. It's all good.
True. It's true. I knew. I was a plan the whole time, dude. But good shit, man. I appreciate you for this whole summer. And good luck to your Packers. I know you're excited about Micah Parsons. We do play each other this year. May if you have time, find a way to get you on before that game so we can shit talk each other before the Bengals versus Packers. And
that'd be fun. Let's see if we can make that happen.
Sounds like a plan, man.
So
appreciate you, brother. Hoo day.